Did you know that fear is the one thing holding most people back from becoming their best selves? Most of us do not fail due to a lack of opportunities, but because we are afraid to step out of our comfort zones. Here is the paradox. The more you fear, the more you are held back. But it is by facing fear that you grow. Imagine this. A child stands by the edge of a lake, looking down at the water, trembling. They are scared, worried, and dare not jump in. But when they finally take the plunge, they learn a skill that no one can ever take away. Only action turns fear into strength. And you, watching this, are like that child. You have your own fears, perhaps fear of failure, rejection, hurt, or simply change. Those fears are silently controlling your life, causing you to procrastinate, give up, or miss out on incredible opportunities. Today, I invite you to face your fears with me, without running away, without judgment, without criticism, because you cannot change your future if you continue to let fear dictate your actions. We will explore the nature of fear, how to control it, and most importantly, how to turn it into motivation to move forward. You will see that each time you confront fear, you not only overcome challenges, but also become stronger, more confident, and capable of transforming your life. Remember this: do not let fear decide your future. Let fear teach you to become better. Let us start with a basic truth. Everyone is afraid. No one escapes fear. But most people do not realize this. They let fear silently control their lives, unaware that if recognized properly, fear can become the greatest teacher they will ever have. Picture yourself standing on the edge of a deep lake, the water shimmering under the sunlight. Your heart races, your legs tremble. You want to turn back? That is fear showing up. It signals danger. But here's the key point. Fear is not your enemy. It is a signal, a message telling you that you are standing before an opportunity to grow. Now, imagine this in everyday life. Fear can take many forms. Fear of failure. It stops you from trying a new business, a dream project, or stepping out of your comfort zone. It tells you, do not try or you will fail. But if you look closely, you will see that failure is just a lesson. And that lesson is the path to success. Fear of rejection. This is the most common fear. It keeps you from sharing your ideas, persuading clients, or opening up in relationships. It says, if they reject you, it will hurt. But understand this, rejection is just feedback, not a judgment of your worth. That feedback helps you improve and grow. Fear of change. You fear losing security, the unknown, or risks. So you procrastinate, stop, and miss opportunities. But remember, all growth begins with change, and change always comes with fear. No one grows without facing their fears. So, how do you recognize fear effectively? Write down your fears. Put on paper all the things that worry you, the decisions you are afraid to make, the opportunities you have not dared to seize. When fear is written down, it is no longer a shadowy ghost. It becomes something tangible that you can see, analyze, and address. Ask yourself these questions. What is the worst that could happen? Can I prepare to deal with it? If I do not act, what will the consequences be? When you ask these questions, you begin to separate fear from chaotic emotions. Fear is no longer a raging wave, but valuable information, helping you act more wisely. Recognize the message behind fear. Every fear carries a message. What matters to you? what you need to develop, what skills you lack to face it. For example, if you fear failure at work, the message is you need to learn more, prepare better. If you fear rejection, the message is you need to develop communication skills, build confidence. If you fear change, the message is you need to learn to manage risks, embrace the unknown. Let me tell you a story. A friend of mine, when young, was terrified of speaking in front of crowds. Just thinking about standing before 50 people made his heart race and his legs shake. He wanted to run away. But instead of avoiding it, he wrote down his fear, recognized it, and practiced step by step. He spoke to one person, then 5, then 20. Each time he stood up, and he realized fear could not destroy him. It only made him stronger. Today, he is an inspiring speaker, addressing hundreds with no fear holding him back. That is what I want you to understand. Fear is not something to avoid, but something to control and overcome. When you clearly recognize fear, when you know where it comes from and how it affects you, you take back control. Fear is no longer an invisible enemy, but an ally, a mirror reflecting your weaknesses and strength. Hold on to this principle and repeat it in your mind daily. Do not wish it was easier. Wish you were better. Every fear you recognize is an opportunity to become better, stronger, and more confident. And when you learn to face fear head on, you will see that true strength lies not in being fearless, but in acting despite fear. Let us begin with a truth you must remember. Everyone is afraid. No one escapes fear. I want you to hold this close. The difference between those who achieve success and those who stay stuck is not that they are fearless, but how they handle their fear. Imagine standing on the edge of a wide river, its waters rushing and splashing. Your heart races, your legs shake, your body tenses. Fear appears. It tells you, do not go, or you will fall, fail, or be swept away. And you know what? This is a natural, helpful fear. It warns you of risks, but if you just stand there doing nothing, you will miss the chance to cross the river, to reach the other side, to discover what lies beyond. So, is fear an ally or an enemy? It is both. It all depends on how you face and use it. When fear is an ally, think of fear as a compass. When you feel anxious, stressed, or scared, it is an important signal. This matters to you. This requires preparation. For example, you fear failing at starting a business. If you ignore this fear, you might dive in unprepared, and failure could happen. But if you recognize the fear, analyze the risks, plan, and learn more, you turn fear into motivation. Fear becomes a teacher, helping you prepare better, grow stronger, and increase your chances of success. Another everyday example, you fear speaking in front of a crowd. Your heart races, your palms sweat. If you run away, fear wins. But if you start small, speaking to one person, then a few, then a group, you realize fear does not kill you. It shows you where to practice and grow. As an ally, fear helps you recognize risks. It warns you before important decisions. Prepare better. You learn, practice, and prepare more thoroughly. Build inner strength. Each time you face fear, you grow more confident. When fear is an enemy, now imagine fear uncontrolled. It becomes an enemy blocking your path. For example, a student fears failure, so they avoid important projects, missing chances to learn and grow. An employee fears rejection when presenting ideas, so they stay silent, contributing nothing and missing promotions. Someone wants to change jobs, but fears risks. So they stay in an outdated environment, missing career growth. When fear becomes an enemy, it prevents action. You procrastinate. Hesitate, miss opportunities, limits you. You believe you are not capable or talented enough. Creates lasting regret. You look back and see fear controlled your life. One thing you must understand, the same fear can be an ally or an enemy, depending on how you face it. The difference lies in awareness and action. Exercise to recognize and control fear. Now, I want you to try an exercise. You do not need to write it down. Do it in your mind. Think of a fear controlling you right now. Write on paper. What am I afraid of? What happens if I do nothing? Ask yourself, what can I prepare to face this fear? How will I move forward? Think of fear as a wave. If you try to run, it will sweep you away. But if you learn to ride it, control it, it becomes an ally, carrying you farther out to sea, to shores. You never imagine a real life example from one of my students. He feared failing in business. Each time he thought of opening a store, his heart raced, his body tensed. But instead of giving up, he planned, learned, sought advice from mentors, and started small. The result? His store succeeded, and he became more confident and resilient. Fear did not vanish. It became the strength pushing him forward. You see, most people want to eliminate fear, but that is impossible. Fear is not an enemy. It is a natural tool, a signal showing you risks and what matters. But if you do not control it, fear will stop you, delay opportunities, and limit your potential. Today, I want to show you how to control fear step by step, using a method I have taught for decades. Step 1, face fear head on. The first thing you must do is recognize your fear clearly, without excuses or avoidance. Take a pen and paper and write down everything you are afraid of. Do not skip anything, even fears you think are minor. Writing them down separates fear from your chaotic mind. When fear becomes words, it is no longer a shadowy ghost, but something tangible you can address. For example, you fear failing in business, write down losing money, losing reputation, failing in front of friends and family. You fear speaking in public, write down saying the wrong thing, forgetting content, being laughed at. You fear changing your life, write down losing security, uncertainty, needing new skills. When you see fear with your eyes, you begin to separate emotion from reality. And when you do that, you take back the first step of control. Step 2, analyze fear logically. The next step is to analyze fear based on facts, not emotions. Ask yourself, what is the worst that could happen? If it happens, can I handle it? If I do not act, what will the consequences be? For example, a student fears giving a presentation. The worst case is forgetting the content. If that happens, what is the consequence? Just an imperfect presentation, a chance to learn and improve next time. If you do nothing, you miss the chance to develop skills, lose confidence, and let fear grow bigger. These questions help you see fear logically, separating it from emotions. You will realize most fears are exaggerated in your mind. When you see the truth, fear loses its overwhelming power, and you begin to see each fear as an opportunity to grow. Step 3, take small actions. Now, the most important step, act despite fear. You do not need to leap immediately. Start with small, manageable steps and gradually increase the challenge. For example, you fear speaking to 200 people? Start by talking to one person you know. speaking to a small group of 5, 10 people, addressing a class of 20, 30 people, then standing before 50, then 100 people. Each time you act, your heart races, your hands sweat, your body tenses, but you act anyway. And fear loses strength. Remember, action is the strongest medicine to control fear. Another example from business. Someone fears failing when starting a company. Instead of giving up, they start with a small product, learn from customers, and improve step by step. When the product succeeds modestly, fear decreases, confidence grows, and they expand further. Step 4, accept failure as part of the process. The greatest fear often comes from fearing failure. But listen to me, failure is not the enemy. It is a valuable lesson. Thomas Edison failed thousands of times before inventing the light bulb. He said, "I have not failed. I have just found 10,000 ways that do not work." Each failure reduces fear a little and teaches you something valuable. When you act, learn, and keep moving forward, fear becomes motivation, bringing you closer to success. Step 5, seek support and learn from others. You do not have to do it alone. Find mentors, companions, or those who have overcome similar fears. Learning from their experiences shows you if they can do it, so can you. For example, you fear financial investing. Meet a successful investor. Learn to manage risks and handle market fluctuations. You fear speaking. Watch great speakers. Learn how to prepare, breathe, and connect with an audience. When you apply these lessons, fear stops being a barrier and becomes a tool for personal and skill development. Step 6, turn fear into daily motivation. Finally, remember, fear is fuel for progress. Each time you face fear, you learn a new skill. Each time you act despite fear, you become more confident and stronger. When you make this a habit, fear no longer controls you. It becomes an ally guiding you to success. Imagine a speaker who initially feared addressing 200 people, heart racing, hands trembling. After 50 times, they no longer shake. They not only speak better, but develop inner strength, leadership, and confidence to inspire hundreds. Remember these 6 steps. Face fear head on. Analyze fear logically. Take small actions. Accept failure as a lesson. Seek support and learn from others. Turn fear into daily motivation. When you do all this, fear is no longer an enemy. It is a companion helping you grow, strengthen, and move forward. And hold this close. Fear appears before opportunity. If you dare to step through fear, opportunity will open before you. Keep this in mind. Fear only has power when you let it control you. When you learn to control fear, you control your life. Here is a small tip. Fear always appears before opportunity. If you feel afraid, ask yourself, what am I afraid of? If I overcome this fear, who will I become? When you answer these questions, you begin to transform fear into strength. And that strength will lead you to success. You see, fear often stems from our minds. It grows in the dark, in uncontrolled thoughts, in scenarios where we let ourselves imagine the worst. And here is what I want you to understand. When you control your mind, you control fear. When you control fear, you control your life. Start with a basic principle. Your level of success will seldom exceed your level of personal development. Success is not just the result, but the character and mindset you develop to achieve it. Fear cannot defeat you if your mind is strong enough to control it. Step 1, observe and understand your mind. First, look at your thoughts. Ask yourself, what am I thinking about my fear? Am I exaggerating the risks? Am I imagining the worst scenario that has not even happened? Think of your mind as a garden. If you let the weeds of fear grow wild, they will cover every opportunity. But if you plant seeds of positive thinking, confidence, and optimism, the garden will bloom, and fear will shrink to a manageable sprout. For example, someone fears public speaking. In their mind, they see people laughing, criticizing, shouting. But if they observe those thoughts, write them down, and analyze them, they realize most worst-case scenarios exist only in imagination, and they can prepare to control reality. Step 2, use visualization to control fear. Visualization is a powerful tool. Try imagining yourself overcoming your fear. Close your eyes and picture yourself on stage. Confident, voice clear, audience listening intently. Feel your heartbeat calm, the strength in your body. Confidence radiating in every gesture. Tell yourself, I can do this. I am prepared. I am capable. Repeat this visualization daily. When you imagine success, your mind builds belief that you can do it, and fear loses power. A real-life example, I often tell my students about a young speaker who trembled before 50 people. I guided them to visualize standing confidently before a crowd, smiling, speaking clearly, audience nodding. A week later, they stepped on stage, and the result? Fear diminished, confidence emerged. Step 3, build a habit of positive thinking. Fear grows stronger if you feed negative thoughts. So, build a habit of positive thinking. Each morning, remind yourself, I am capable. I have the strength to face any challenge. I am prepared to act. When fear arises, ask, what positive lesson can I learn from this situation? Write down 3 things you did well today, even small ones. To focus your mind on capability, not worry. For example, if you fear making sales calls, focus on 3 times you successfully talked to customers before. This habit shows you are capable and fear loses control. Step 4, breathe and connect with your body. Your mind and body are connected. When you are afraid, your heart races, your body tenses, fear spreads. A simple but effective tool is deep, slow breathing. Inhale for 4 counts, hold for 4 counts, exhale for 4 counts. Repeat 5-10 times. When you breathe slowly and deeply, your nervous system calms, your mind clears, and fear loses power. Remember, fear lives in your body before your mind. When you control your body, you control your mind. Step 5, act daily to strengthen your mind. Finally, fear only loses power when you act consistently. Not once, but every day. Face small fears daily, 1 step at a time. Write down results. Learn from experiences. Visualize success. Before acting, maintain positive thinking and remind yourself of your capabilities. For example, an employee fears presentations. Start with a 1-minute talk to colleagues, then 5 minutes, then 10. Each time they strengthen their mind, reduce fear, and become confident. Addressing a room, remember these 3 key principles. Your mind controls fear when you observe and understand. Fear loses power. Visualization and positive thinking build belief that you can face challenges. Daily action, the best way to transform fear into strength. Successful people are not fearless. They face fear, control it, and turn it into motivation to move forward. Fear appears before opportunity. Control your mind. Act bravely. An opportunity will open before you. You see, most people understand the theory. Fear exists, and controlling it is important, but understanding is not enough. Controlling fear happens only when you act. Today, I will show you how to act step by step, so fear no longer has power over you. As I always say, do not wish it was easier, wish you were better. Remember, fear appears before opportunity. If you act despite fear, opportunity will open before you. Exercise 1, recognize fear daily. Each morning, take 5-10 minutes to seriously write down fears controlling you. Are you afraid of failing a new project? Speaking in front of a crowd? Being rejected when sharing an idea? Do not skip even small fears you think are unimportant. Writing them down separates fear from your mind, making it a tangible object you can handle. For example, an employee fears making sales calls. Write, I fear customers rejecting me, laughing at me, failing in front of my boss. Writing this helps you analyze fear and plan action instead of letting it control your day. Exercise 2, analyze fear and find the truth. Ask yourself, what is the worst that could happen? If it happens, can I handle it? If I do not act, what will the consequences be? Look at fear logically, separate from emotions. You will see most fears exist only in imagination. For example, a student fears a presentation. The worst case is forgetting the content. If that happens, what is the consequence? Just a chance to learn for next time. If you do nothing, you miss skill development. When you analyze clearly, fear loses power and you can act. Exercise 3, take small actions. This is the most important step. Start with small actions and increase the challenge gradually. For example, you fear speaking to 50 people. First step, talk to one person you know. Next, 5 people. Then 10, 20 people. Finally, present to a class or group of 50. Each action reduces fear, builds confidence. Someone fearing a new business can start with a small product. Learn from customer feedback and expand step by step. Each action reduces fear, increases belief and skills. Exercice 4, visualise success. Visualization is a powerful tool to control your mind and reduce fear. Close your eyes and imagine overcoming your fear. You are on stage, voice clear, audience listening intently. You make a sales call. Customers respond positively. You start a new project, everything goes well. When you visualize success, your mind believes you are capable and fear loses power. I often tell students, if you can imagine success, you are halfway to achieving it. Exercise 5, breathe and connect with your body. Fear lives in your body before your mind. When your heart races, hands shake, or body tenses, you feel controlled. Deep breathing calms your nervous system, clears your mind, and reduces fear's power. Inhale for 4 counts, hold for 4 counts, exhale for 4 counts, repeat a few times. Combine breathing with visualization. Imagine standing firm, confident, in control. You will see that when mind and body align, the fear diminishes significantly. Exercice 6, track your progress. Each day, write down what you did to face fear, what went well, what can be improved. For example, you made a sales call despite fear. Customers responded positively. You realize fear is just a feeling. You spoke to a few people, felt more confident, fear lessened. Tracking progress helps you recognize your capabilities and reduces fear's power. Exercise 7. Make facing fear a daily habit. Habits are key. If you do this daily, choose a small fear to face. Act step by step. Track progress. Visualize success and breathe. After a few weeks, fear no longer controls you. It becomes motivation, helping you grow and move forward. Exercise 8. Use fear to drive growth. Remember my saying, fear appears before opportunity. Each fear is a mirror showing your weaknesses, as skills to develop, and opportunities you have not dared to seize. Turn fear into motivation to learn, fear speaking, learn communication skills, motivation to act, fear, failure, plan and prepare thoroughly, motivation to grow, fear, change, build flexibility and problem-solving skills. When you turn fear into motivation, you not only overcome it, but become stronger, more confident, and more developed. Hold these 7 principles close. Face fear head on. Analyze fear logically. Take small actions. Visualize success. Breathe and connect with your body. Track progress and learn. Make facing fear a daily habit. When you do this, fear is no longer an enemy. It becomes an ally, helping you grow, strengthen, and prepare for any challenge. Remember my words. Fear appears before opportunity. Act despite fear, and opportunity will open before you. You see, most people understand the theory. Fear exists, and controlling it is important. But understanding is not enough. Controlling fear happens only when you act, not think, not worry, but act. Remember, fear appears before opportunity. If you act despite fear, opportunity will open before you. Each morning, take a few minutes to seriously write down fears controlling you. Fear of failing a new project, speaking in public, being rejected for an idea. Do not skip even small fears. Writing them down separates fear from your mind, making it a tangible object you can handle. This helps you analyze clearly and plan action instead of letting fear control your day. Then, analyze fear logically. Ask, what is the worst that could happen? If it happens, can I handle it? If I do not act, what will the consequences be? When you see fear logically, separate from emotions, you realize most fears exist only in imagination. Then, fear loses power, and you can act. Acting in small steps is the effective way to control fear. You do not need to leap immediately. If you fear speaking to 50 people, start with one person you know, then 5, then 10, 20, then the whole class of 50. Each action reduces fear, builds confidence. Someone fearing a new business can start with a small product, learn from feedback, and expand step by step. Each action reduces fear, increases belief and skills. Visualizing success is a powerful tool to control your mind and reduce fear. Close your eyes and imagine overcoming fear. You are on stage, voice clear, audience listening. You make a sales call, customers respond positively. You complete a new project, everything goes well. When you visualize success, your mind believes you are capable, and fear loses power. Fear lives in your body before your mind. When your heart races, hands shake, or body tenses, you feel controlled. Deep breathing calms your nervous system. It clears your mind and reduces fear's power. Inhale for 4 counts. Hold for 4 counts. Exhale for 4 counts. Repeat a few times. Combine breathing with visualization. Imagining you stand firm, confident, in control, and fear diminishes significantly. Tracking progress helps you recognize your capabilities and reduce fear's power. Each day, write down what you did to face fear. What went well? What can be improved? For example, you made a sales call despite fear. Customers responded positively. You realized fear is just a feeling. You spoke to a few people, felt more confident, fear lessened. Tracking shows fear does not control you. Make facing fear a daily habit. Each day, choose a small fear, act step by step, track progress. Visualize success and breathe. After a few weeks, fear no longer controls you. It becomes motivation to grow and move forward. Remember that fear appears before opportunity. Each fear is a mirror showing weaknesses, the skills to develop, and opportunities you have not dared to seize. Turn fear into motivation to learn, act, and grow. When you do this, you not only overcome fear, but become stronger, more confident, and more developed. Hold this principle in your heart. Fear is not an enemy, but an ally helping you grow. Act despite fear. An opportunity will open before you. Steht. Each action, each lesson transforms you from someone controlled by fear into someone proactive, confident, and full of inner strength. Fear appears before opportunity. Act despite fear. An opportunity will open before you. Remember, action is the key. When you act, fear turns into motivation. When you do not act, fear becomes the enemy. Start today, right now, and you will see your life change.